when we ask him for wisdom, he promises he'll give it to us and help us navigate those tough situations. So often our world looks completely out of control, but nothing surprises God, and he's always there. We can call on him anytime. And I think that's the big lesson that Kitty comes away with at the end of the book. And who am I? Well, I'm God's daughter. That he's the one who defines me.
We'll talk about this and much more today. Welcome to a Writer's Day podcast.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Writer's Day podcast. My name is Ruth Douthitz, and I'm an award-winning, multi-published author of books in fantasy and women's contemporary, and now I am working on suspense. And my next book, Fatal Truth, Book 3 in my Desert Shadow Suspense series, releases July 28th, so go pre-order your copy today to find out what Emma and Liam are up to now, what their investigation is about. And also head over to my website at artbyruth.com to sign up for my newsletter, and you'll get a free copy of my novella, The Letter Opener. And you'll also learn more about me and my books. You can listen to podcast episodes there too, and see my artwork, which I talk about a little bit today. And if you like today's episode, please consider following me at Spotify, subscribing over to my YouTube channel, and leave me a comment. Let me know what you think. I'd love to know what you think of today's episode. Okay, let's get started. Jenelle Hovde is with me today. That's right, the best-selling author and commission artist is with me to talk about her newest book, The Light of Stars, and it sounds amazing. You're going to love it. So, you know the drill. Grab your favorite beverage, a comfortable chair, kick back and relax as we listen to Jenelle talk about her new book. Hey everyone, welcome back to the podcast. I'm so happy to have Jenelle Hovde with me again. Welcome back, Jenelle.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Of course, yeah. And I'm super excited because you've got another book coming out. But before we get to that, tell us what you've been up to so far in 2026.
Oh my goodness. Well, it's been an amazing year, kind of pivotal. I'm a mom of 3 girls, and so I have one that is in grade 11, and then grade 9 and grade 7, and I homeschool full time. And so I just got my daughter into a local university, and I don't want to see any more paperwork. Let me just put it that way for once. We did it together, but I'm really proud of her. But it just hit me this season of, you feel like you're going to be in diapers forever. They're going to hate me saying this, but all of a sudden you blink and you're like, wait, we're discussing college degrees here, and I'm not ready for it at all. So,
Wow.
yeah.
That's exciting though. But yeah, kind of sad, but exciting at the same time.
Absolutely. Bittersweet for sure.
Yeah. And it's that's how parenting is. It seems like from day one, there's all these amazing happy moments that can be kind of sad at the same exact time.
Oh, absolutely. And it definitely keeps me on my toes. So I do write full time, and then I illustrate, and then I homeschool, and then somehow I have I try to make time for ministry because my husband is a pastor with the Christian Missionary Alliance. And so ministry is really important to us as well. So sometimes I feel like it's hard to juggle everything. Sometimes you have a season where you do something really well, but everything else is kind of, falling off the plate. So
Mm.
it's definitely hard, but I love it.
I hear you. And I think it was Elizabeth Goddard and I were chatting on the podcast not too long ago. We're both 59 and we're kind of nearing the end. She and I were both thinking, wow, we probably only have about 20 good years left. So we're just like rushing to get all this writing done. I told her I feel like I'm always in a hurry to get more books done, more artwork done
I
because
love
we're in the end. We're in the final stretch, and it's weird to get to that point in life, to where you're finally
it. Yeah.
realizing this is
I'm
it. And
Generation X. Yeah. So
see,
I
yeah,
I
me too.
totally understand. Yeah.
Mhm.
You feel that burning fire. You're like, I want to contribute as much as I can to everyone around me. And you're stretching for your dreams and you just want to end. I think of Paul, you want to run the good race. when he
Yeah.
writes
Finish
that. Yeah.
strong. Yeah.
Yeah.
Finish strong. Run the race with
Hmm.
endurance. And but you're right. I mean, there's ministry, there's writing, there's art, being a mom, wife,
Hmm.
wanting to travel, wanting to experience new things, and but you know that the clock is ticking. Whereas when you're in
Yeah.
your 20s, 30s, 40s, you don't even think about such things. But now, as I'm
Yes.
getting closer to 60, I'm thinking, wow, I better get on the
Mhm.
ball. But our son's not even dating anyone. And so I have no grandchildren or anything. So I'm like, I have all
Mm.
this time on my hands because I know once he does get married and starts
Yeah.
having kids, then that's it. The books and everything get put to the side. So I
You're going to
figured,
have a great season. Yep.
yeah, I better get this stuff done.
So my daughter's 17 and we're just starting to talk about dating too. And that's
Mm.
that we you and I could spend a whole session just talking
Oh,
about Gen Z and dating. Oh my word. I do
oh,
not envy those kids at all. But
me
I was
neither.
thinking for those of us that are Gen X, I feel like when you approach your late 40s, your 50s, your 60s, I don't know, I feel so blessed. I see it's just the best time. We're not worried what
Mm,
other people think. We can run unhindered. You know, we're not like nervous the way we were in our 20s and people pleasing and all of that. You just run absolutely unfettered. And I think it's going to be the most exciting decade, next few decades. So yeah, we'll run hard.
exactly. I feel that way too. Well, let's talk about your newest book, The Light of Stars, which releases July 14th. Tell us about this amazing story.
Oh, well, thank you. It is definitely one of the stories of my heart. You know, every once in a while, like you love all your books, but there'll come an idea and you just really, really, really love it. And I was so blessed. Tyndall said yes, and I had actually entered it into the Cascade, Oregon Writer Contest. So if you have any writers out there, this is a great contest. And
Mm,
it did reach finals. I think Sarah Loudon Thomas won. She's amazing. I love her books. But it was really a neat little boost because I had been writing biblical era fiction for so long. And I thought, oh, maybe I can do Regency. And so I signed with Tyndall for two Regencies and I signed for two more. But this book
nice.
really was like my favorite. So it's based upon a true story. And it's about a young girl who is raised in a Muslim palace in India, Hyderabad, and she is kidnapped and taken to England by her English grandfather and just raised as this perfect English rose. And the real woman's name is Catherine Kirkpatrick. And when I dived into her story, I was so fascinated. I couldn't look away. She always wondered where her mother was and if her mother survived. And so I created this story based upon her, but there's enough change, you know, it's its own unique book. And the more I got into the history, the more I was just blown away that there were actually women of mixed heritage that were navigating kind of at the edge of English society, and they were trying to find their place. And a lot of men went to India to make their fortune. And then they would come back and bring children or wives with them. And so, for a very small period of time with the Prince Regent, there was a little bit of freedom. And then when Queen Victoria came in, that all shut down. And a
Mm,
lot of these children really, really suffered because they had no place to belong, either in Indian society or English. So Kitty is taken. Her name is Catherine as well. She's taken to England and raised with her brother Edward. And she's kept isolated, almost like Rapunzel in a tower. And one day her grandfather says, You're going to marry this young man. And of course, the man is someone she absolutely hates. She met him when she was a child. He
of
teased
course.
her, she slapped him. So his name is Sebastian Sinclair. And the Sinclairs and the Grenvilles are very important families with the British East Indian Company. And the Indian Company, British East Indian Company, is fascinating because it was like this huge corporation, but it was also the arm of the English government. And they went over to India and they had a lot of power over that country, which was warring territories like Hindu, Muslim, the French were in there, the English, everyone was trying to carve up India at the time and come up on top. So she does not want to marry Sebastian at all. And she's an astronomer because it connects her to her mother, who would show her the stars from the palace rooftop. And she wants to have her own season and have a life and a choice. And her grandfather says no. And meanwhile, Sebastian Sinclair is this young, kind of rogue man. He's a reformed rake, kind of overcoming addictions and had uh, a change of heart, finding Christ. And so he wants to do the right thing, the responsible thing, and replace his brother who passed away. So he's going to step into the company role. And he goes over to England to defend the British East Indian Company action to Parliament and to convince Kitty to marry him. Because that's what his grandfather
Oh.
wants. So there's lots of
Oh.
sparks, a little bit enemies to lovers, although he falls very fast, very hard for her. So the more she
Oh.
challenges him, the more he likes it. And she begins to realize in her quest to find out what happened to her mother in India, he might be the only one who can really help her. And so it's a definitely a slow burn love story, and real people from history make an appearance, like William Wilberforce, who dealt with slavery in England before America did. He was very concerned what was going on in India. And then William Carey makes an appearance, and he's one of our early missionaries in
Mm.
India. And both men were fighting the East Indian Company. They were deeply concerned with how farmers were forced to grow opium. And then Britain would take that opium and they would sell it as laudanum to regular users in England. If your baby cries, go give them some opium. It's hard for us to understand. But they
Right.
took it to China and they addicted the Chinese so they could control the tea trade. And so a lot of people don't know that history. And it was so fun reading early reviews. A lot of women are like, wow, I didn't know that. And this is true. We don't know much about the opium wars that Britain later had with China. There were two of them. They were huge and they were devastating. And that's kind of the backstory of how we even got to those two wars in Victorian times. It was that this huge corporation got in there and was influencing policies and doing a lot of stuff that, we look and raise our eyebrows at. So it was a really fascinating time period, and just looking at the geography. So the book takes place in England and then ends in Calcutta. And it was just so much fun to write.
Oh, wow. Yeah, such rich history. So, which came first? Did you find out all this history and then a story developed, or did you have a story in mind and then you went and did the research?
I don't even know how I stumbled across this, but I saw her story. And
Mm.
I just Love and Betrayal, the story of the White Mughals, written by William Dalrymple, who's actually his family line traces all the way back to this Muslim princely kingdom in Hyderabad. He wrote about this history, and I saw it online, bought the book, and I was blown away because there were these Englishmen that actually converted to the Muslim faith and they
Mm.
abandoned the British way of life. And I thought, wow. So there is a mystery going on with Kitty's father and her mother, what really happened. It was such a tense time because even the French had gotten in there during the Revolution, these Jacobins, and then that switched to Napoleon Bonaparte. And it was just such a cutthroat world where everyone was clawing to get on top. And so the East Indian Company was trying to maintain control, and there's spies and double spies and all kinds of intrigue. And I thought, oh my goodness, I got to write a book. So I did.
Yeah, you wrote a book, but then you saw this beautiful love story intertwined in there. Were there like, was it like a metaphor for something, their beautiful love story?
You know, I actually had my author assistant Amanda Guiney read it first, and she said, this really makes me think. I'm paraphrasing her. She said how we often judge people and we
Mm.
don't really see them for who they are, but when given enough time and circumstances, we do start to see the real heart. And there are times when we are, wrong in our judgment. And then I think the other thing that really hit me, the some of the verses in the Bible are just so key, like Psalms 147:4. I'm shortening it, paraphrasing it completely, but that he calls the stars by name and
Mm.
that God ordains, the entire universe. He's fully in control. And when our life looks out of control, we can trust him to work it all out. And that even when people try to define us in bad ways, it's God who gets to define us. And for me, that message is something I really want my girls to absorb. The world will try to tell you who you are and what to be, but what God says about you is far more important.
Oh, that's beautiful. What were some of the challenges you faced, though, writing this with all this history and yet putting this love story in there?
I think the fact that I have not been to India. So I researched and researched. I can't say the names of this dear couple because they would be endangered. They are missionaries and they actually had to flee. So they have connections to Indonesia and India. And so the one person in particular had grown up just surrounded with Muslim culture. And so I talked to them a lot about just making sure everything was authentic and rang true in the book. And they were invaluable and so patient with me. And I would love to give them credit, but I can't because if
Yeah.
they ever go back, they would be in trouble. So I had different missionaries and people from this culture read and speak into the book. And so God, that was a God thing to provide that. And I had a reader who went to India to do mission work, and she said, "Oh, I felt like I went back." So I said, I'm so grateful because you don't want to make a mistake there at all. But I spent hours watching videos, reading, researching. So from my comfortable living room armchair, but I would love to go one day.
Oh, that sounds wonderful. Yeah, it can be quite a challenge to come up with those
Yeah.
settings when you've never stepped foot there.
Right. And that's true for Regency, right? We had none of us can, we try our best to imagine what it would be like, but there are some differences with Jane Austen. I wore shorts to Costco today. I didn't have to worry about showing my ankles. So,
Yeah, and then you have those arranged marriages
yeah.
and all the cultural differences. But you're right. I mean, the East India Company and what was happening at that time was so chaotic. And we think our world is crazy right now, but wow, back then, whew,
Yeah.
everything you described just makes my head spin. And who knew all that was happening? Oh, that's amazing. Well, so as Christian authors, we love to put themes in our books so that there's like a tapestry, of these themes interwoven because we want our readers to be entertained. That's true. and
Yes.
and really care about our characters, but we want them to also take away something from the story. So what do you hope readers take away from The Light of Stars?
That God sees you and that He has a name for you and He loves you. He calls you His own beloved. And no matter how hard life is, He is working everything for His glory. And He will grow us through those challenges. He'll carry us. We won't be tempted, necessarily beyond what we can bear, but He'll carry us through it. And when we ask Him for wisdom, He promises He'll give it to us and help us navigate those tough situations. So often our world looks completely out of control, but nothing surprises God, and He's always there. We can call on Him anytime. And I think that's the big lesson that Kitty comes away with at the end of the book. And who am I? Well, I'm God's daughter. That He's the one who defines me.
Oh, that's so beautiful. Do you come up with the themes before you start writing and they kind of guide you, or do you, as you're writing, do they kind of just happen?
It's gone both ways.
Mm.
Every book is so different. I would love to replicate each book in a sense. It would be predictable. Sometimes I write the book and I'm like, oh, that's what I ought to say. Or I'll get a critique partner coming back and she'll say, boy, I really saw this. And I'm like, oh, that's the heart. Other times I know exactly where I need to go and what to do. I wish it was more predictable.
Well, sometimes you start off in a direction and then the
Hmm.
Lord will just kind of bring a person into your life, or you'll watch a show or hear
Yeah.
a song. That's happened to me many times.
Oh, yes.
And I think, ooh, I need to go in this direction now. And I'm like
Mhm.
halfway through the book, but it works out nicely. So,
I love that.
we have to, as writers, we have to be flexible and willing to bend when the Lord puts something on our heart.
Yeah. I think those are those God moments. For me, sometimes it's a sermon and I'll think, oh, I got to write that point down. That is what I need to put in the book. That's where it should go. So I want to be open to that and flexible. I'm not a pantser, like someone who just writes off the top of her head. I
Yeah,
usually
me
have
neither. Yeah.
12-page synopsis. I give it to the editors,
Yeah.
get their approval, try to stay with it. So yeah, but sometimes things come and you're like, well, I didn't expect that.
Yeah. I think for me, I'm currently writing a book where the villain is a big cult that's hurting young people. And
Oh,
in a sermon, I had already started writing the book, and in a sermon, the pastor mentioned a few things. And I thought, because he's worked with cults before too, and
oh,
I just thought that was a good point. And so in the book, I have one character saying, why is it these cults always have a prophet, who wants to have all the power and money and influence, but
yeah.
yet they never want the heart of a bondservant like Jesus? And that was pretty much what the
Mm,
pastor had said in that sermon. And so I went
wow.
back and I just changed that scene to add that little tiny speech that
Right.
character gave. But so,
That's
yeah, I
powerful.
mean, we have to be flexible to add those things when the Lord just lays it on our heart. So, yeah.
Right. And you can see that echoed in real life, that narcissism with cults and
Mhm.
just, how they accumulate more power, more power, more power. And I love that because readers can read that and it's just a very safe way of saying to the reader, here's some red flags. When you get out into the real world, you can see this. And it's such a great way to have a discussion with someone. I love how books can do that.
Oh, good point. Yeah. Well, The Light of Stars is available for pre-order right now. So head over to Amazon. You can get it at Barnes& and Noble, Tyndale, Books A Million, and christianbook.com. And it will release on July 14th. So that way you'll already have it populated in your Kindle. And when it releases, bling, it'll already be there. Well, so what's coming down the road for you?
Well, I have two more regencies, and the next one is I don't have a formal title yet, but I'll give a few little hints, and you'll be one of the first. So I'm actually
Yay!
I have 1 week to finish the book, so I'm cruising really fast to the deadline. But it's about the cutthroat world of opera, and it's about a very shy girl who learns to have a voice. So I wrote two firecracker characters who are strong-willed, feisty women, and this one is my soft, shy, sweet girl, a little bit plus size, which I love. And she's just adorable, but she really needs to learn to stand up for herself. And she becomes this overnight sensation. But before that happens, she rescues this man in Cornwall. And so it's a little bit of a Little Mermaid, almost in a sense. And she saves his life only to find out it's the enemy of her family's enemy. And she's on hard times because her father was accused of stealing and embezzlement for a big shipping corporation. And so she, her mother, and her sister are living in disgrace in this little Cornwall village. And she rescues this guy from the sea. His ship breaks apart and he comes ashore and she saves his life because in Cornwall, the wreckers would line the beach and they would hope to get whatever floats ashore and they weren't always very nice about it. So with
Oh,
survivors. And so it's not an enemies to lovers. It's actually more of he falls very hard, very fast, but it's about mistaken identities. And so there's some mystery, some smuggling, some opera, and it's been so much fun to write because this one, the research is all music, and my
ooh.
whole house is filled with music. It's been so good. So
Oh,
I'm
all the
excited.
various operas. Oh, how
Mhm.
wonderful.
Yeah.
Very nice. And the different sopranos that were popular.
Yes,
Oh, very nice.
absolutely. And I have a sister who's an opera singer, so I have been calling her. She's on speed dial, and I'll just call her and say, "Tell me about this. If they sing Mozart's The Magic Flute, how does this work?" They would be guiding
Ah,
me through it.
that's wonderful. Oh,
Yeah,
that
it
sounds
was fun.
great. And we can
So
look
definitely
forward.
romance.
Okay, we can look forward to that one releasing when? Next year?
Actually, in August, yes.
In
So next
August.
summer.
Oh my goodness.
Mhm.
Fantastic.
I
Okay.
know.
And then how is your book cover design business going?
So I'm illustrating. I'm booked out a year. It's been amazing. And I have illustrations in both my Tyndale books. They let me draw and let me run with it. And that was so much fun. And then I have pre-order art. So for anyone who purchases the Light of Stars, save your receipts. And on my Instagram social media account, I have links, and on my website, you can upload your receipt and get art. So I illustrate for fantasy authors, clean romance, contemporary, historical. And my YouTube has a process where I show every brush stroke from start
Mm.
to finish. I use Procreate, which is a painting software, Apple Pencil, and an iPad. And yeah, it's a lot of fun. I never expected it
Oh.
to take off, but I think I had to turn away 75 jobs. I had 75 requests through. I know
Oh,
it's such a blessing, but I have to say, am I a writer or an artist? And
yeah,
primarily I'm a
yeah.
writer. So yeah,
Oh,
but I
wonderful.
do art just about every day. So I try to fit it in.
Fantastic. And what's the YouTube channel name?
So it's under Jenelle Hovde, Jenelle
Okay.
Hovde author. Yep. So they can just do a YouTube search. It's public and it's all there. So yeah.
Terrific. So yeah, listeners, head over and watch some of those videos I have, and it's so fascinating to see the process. I love it. It reminds me a lot of writing, where you start with a rough draft
Yeah.
and you tweak and you tweak and you it seems like it's done, but no, then you go back and you add some more changes. You have a
It's
critique
true.
partner look at it, right?
I teased one of my editors at Tyndall. I said, I write like I draw. It's really ugly at first, so don't get scared.
Right?
But I'll
Exactly.
I'll make it pretty for you. So
Yeah. It's not
yeah,
finished yet. I always tell people
it's
it's
not
not
finished yet.
finished yet.
Yeah, I love your art. It's so beautiful. It's so fun
Oh,
to see on
thanks.
social media.
Oh,
And
thank you.
you and
I'm
I
gonna
both like the realism, so it's fun to see
Yeah.
it.
I love the fantasy art too. I'm going to start
Yeah.
working on my next coloring book this month and into July.
Oh,
So I'm getting all the ideas ready and I can hardly wait to start sketching. For me,
oh,
I'm an artist first. That's my first
yeah.
love. That's who I am. Writing is
Wow.
wonderful. I love it, but it's work, a lot
Yeah.
of work. But for me, drawing and creating the art is so much more relaxing. And
You definitely use a different part of the brain.
yeah, and
I agree with
I
you.
crave it. I have to do
Yeah,
it.
I do too. It's the only way I can sleep at night. I was telling my husband, I have to paint. But
Mm,
writing is like a fire. I have to write. And I think very hard and I'm exhausted by the time a book is done. But art, I'm
yes.
just like, "No, I'm chill. I can go to bed now."
I
It's
know. For
checked
me,
out your
it's
brain.
not work. Yeah, it's as
Yeah.
necessary as breathing, but it's as easy as
Yeah.
breathing for me. I just love it so much. But I
Oh,
do
I
love
love your work.
writing because I have a lot of stories I love to tell. So I do love
Yeah.
writing, but I do find it to be a lot more work. So,
Yes, for sure. Do you do commissions, Ruth, or are you just doing like your own thing and letting people discover you? Because I
yeah,
have
I
a
do
lot of
kind of.
readers that
uh,
love it.
oh, yeah, I do a lot of both. I do commission pet portraits right now. And then when I
Wonderful.
have a break in those, then I do my coloring books. And I'm doing shadow boxes right now. It was kind of an experiment to do some shadow boxes at my last book event I went to. I had five, and three of them sold right away.
Oh my
So I
goodness.
told my husband, well, I guess I'll be making more. So they're kind
Yes,
of yeah, fantasy. I'm doing
gorgeous.
castles, and I'm going to do a little fairy scene
Yeah.
so it can light up. I'm going to add those little fairy lights so it can light up. So
That-
I'm
You
on
know,
Pinterest and I'm finding all these ideas for shadow boxes.
yes, because we could put those right alongside our book collection on our
Yes,
shelf. How
exactly. Yeah.
gorgeous would that
Yeah.
be?
It'd be
Yeah,
so much fun. So I'm
I love
getting
that.
ready to do some of those for fall festivals and but yeah, sticking with fantasy, that's my favorite, I think.
Yep.
But I did a book store and that one sold right away. And then a castle
Mm.
book, castle library sold right away too. So
Oh, yeah.
folks love those, they really love those.
They do. They are so cute. I have a few shadow boxes on my shelf and
Mm.
I love them. But those were a kit my husband assembled. I'm like, I want more.
Yeah, they are
They're
so adorable.
beautiful.
And yeah, so I
Yeah.
just did some research and I thought, well, I'm just going to give it a shot. And I only charged like $12 each. And my son was like, what? What are you?
Yes.
You should be charging 25. I said, well, because it's an
Yes.
experiment and I'm not sure
Oh,
yet. But when they sold, I said, okay, see, now I know I could charge a little
yeah.
more because they sold so quickly. But yeah, one of the ladies
Absolutely.
One of the ladies who bought one, she wrote me a really nice message, how much she loved it. And so I thought, well, maybe the Lord's leading
Yeah.
me down that path. 'Cause they didn't take very long and they didn't cost me very much to make. So I think
Oh,
I'm
I
going to
love it.
play around with those. But yeah, art
Yeah,
is just one of
absolutely.
those things that we have to do, you know?
Absolutely, and I love fantasy art. I'll do anything as long as it's clean. I should
Yeah,
preface
right.
that. But, I do love I don't know, there's something about fantasy art that really
Yeah.
lets your imagination and storytelling fly in in a really special way. So, most of my clients have been Christian fantasy authors, and it's been so fun because I get a list of books that I can give my teen girls because, teen
Mm.
fiction right now is tricky in
Yeah,
Barnes&
it
and
is.
Noble and all of the stores. So to have
It
Christian
is.
indie authors is like, you guys, we need them. What a dream come
Yeah.
true. So if anyone out there is listening and writing Christian fantasy, please keep doing it.
Yes,
We
more
need
for
you.
YA. Yeah, I know it's
Yeah.
so dark. I was just telling an author on another episode that when I go down that aisle at Barnes& and Noble, pretty much every single cover is black, and it's just so
Hmm.
dark and
Right.
kind of creepy. So yeah, if we can provide some
Yeah.
light with our Christian fantasy fiction, let's do it, you know?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And the writing is top notch.
Mm,
It's been so fun to see like how people are writing and what's going on and with realm
very.
makers and whatnot. So
Yeah,
yeah.
very nice. Well,
Hmm.
I love looking at your book cover designs. They're so beautiful, and I love watching your
Oh,
process too. And I
thank
miss it.
you.
I miss doing the digital painting. It's been a gazillion years since I've done it, but I'm tempted. Now you've got me tempted to start it again, so that was fun.
You at Procreate, $20. I guess it's
Not
just the
bad.
iPad and the pencil that you have to pay for.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
is significant, but yeah,
very
worth it.
nice. Well, folks, head over to JanelleHovdeAuthor.com to look up more about her and her books and what's coming next down the road. And can they sign up for your newsletter?
Yes, and my website is JanelleHovdeAuthor.com, and they'll get a free novella, a Snow White retelling that's medieval, and they'll get access to lots of art. I love to give gifts to my readers and free stories and behind the scenes looks at every book that I'm writing. So yeah, it's a fun community.
Very nice. Okay, well, it sounds like you're so busy, so I appreciate you taking time to chat with me today. Thanks, Janelle.
Thank you, Ruth.
That was so fun to listen to Janelle. Oh my goodness, I love talking with her. She just does so much research, and her stories are so unique, aren't they? I mean, oh my goodness. I've been interviewing authors for years. I have yet to hear such a story. Amazing. So head over to JanelleHovdeAuthor.com to learn more about her, to sign up for her newsletter, to get those freebies, and pre-order your copy of The Light of Stars today. And I hope that you've been encouraged. Janelle is just so amazing with how she drafts her stories, how she overcomes those challenges, and she researches. Sometimes it takes a little bit extra work, but when you're writing a story that you're passionate about, it's worth it. So keep going on your writing journey. Every day, try and write something every day. Do something creative, whether it's art or music. Try and tap into the creative side of your brain every single day for that mental health and wellness. And I appreciate you listening. I know you have so many podcasts to listen to, so I appreciate you taking time to listen to mine today. Until next time, God bless.